Well, hello everyone. It's Sybil Starr, and I am here to give the astrology update for the Lionsgate Leo new moon that is happening on August 8th at 16 degrees 14 minutes of Leo at 6:50 p.m. Excuse me. Yeah, no, that's 6:50 a.m., not p.m. That's 6:50 in the morning. Okay. And this, first, I just want to talk about the Lionsgate and what this actually means. This is the Lionsgate happens every year, but it's not always on the Leo new moon. So it just really makes this Leo new moon very powerful. So the Lionsgate is a period of around 2 weeks that happens every year when our sun is when our sun is the closest to the star Sirius. Okay. And the August 8th is the day that it is at its peak energy. It's called the Lionsgate Portal, and it is a portal through which energy from the star Sirius pours through, and it is a higher frequency vibration. It does bring light codes, and I feel like this year is bringing more light codes because it's happening on a new moon. A new moon, of course, is a time when we set our intentions, put our prayers in motion for the following month. And it's a time of great manifestation. It's like planting seeds. And I feel like that's what this Lionsgate is about. It is helping us to wake up to wake up and become aware. Just simply become aware of how we are creating our world around us all the time, and it is manifesting in the quantum field. Okay, and I feel like there are some big teachings around how to manifest in the quantum field that are coming through, kind of like an upgrade. But I also feel like these are light codes that are coming in that are activating the light codes in our own DNA to help us remember who we are and why we came here. What is our purpose? And just simply guidance. In ancient Egypt, it was believed that the star Sirius was the celestial form of Isis. Isis is one of the faces of the Great Mother. And so it is this great mother energy that is pouring through. And there are many who believe that our sun is actually part of a binary star system, and that Sirius is the other star in this system with us. And it would make sense because on a spiritual level, because the sun, which is our star of consciousness, we call it the SUN, and you can also spell it SON, because it is in Egyptian mythology and cosmology. The light of the sun was Horus. Okay, that was the consciousness of the sun. The consciousness of the sun was Horus, and of course there are many solar deities that are connected with the consciousness of the sun. Apollo, Christ consciousness, and so Christ consciousness is also called the SON. So, consciousness of the sun, SUN. Anyway, it is a spiritual sun, and it acts to our sun like our higher selves are to our lower selves. It is, many believe that Sirius is a higher dimensional reality, and yes, and so it is like our higher selves. So the connection to our own higher selves is much stronger coming through this portal, opening up, as the light of Creator shines through us, and that light that we carry within us, and to know that it is love. And just one more kind of small interesting thing is that our founding fathers were all Freemasons, and they our birthday is July 4th, and that was not an accident. It wasn't just a random day. The Freemasons know that that is the day that our sun, between the alignment between the Earth, Sun, and Sirius, that's when it's all in alignment. Okay, that's when we align. And so they knew that Sirius was the celestial form of the goddess Isis. So that is a big part of our history. Okay, And so the Great Mother really is here watching over us in the form of Isis. And I think it's just really important to do a ceremony and ritual on that day, to really sets you to know that it's a great day to set your prayers. Every new moon is a great day to set your prayers in motion, but this is even especially great, and to ask for guidance and to open up to the light codes that are coming in for your own personal upgrade and an upgrade of the planet, okay, of Mother Earth. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the Sabian symbol for this 16 degrees, 16, 17 degrees of Leo. And as you know, as I've talked about before, there was a psychic named Elsie Wheeler who had a vision for every degree of the zodiac, and I often find these very helpful in understanding the energy. Okay, and so what this is it's a volunteer church choir makes social event of a rehearsal. And as we know in the Aquarian age, bringing our voices together is much more powerful than when we are alone. And as we are learning about sound and frequency, the singing our prayers is a much more powerful way than saying our prayers, because it puts that frequency and vibration into the field. I also feel like it is saying, as we come together, to make this singing together a sacred event, but also fun. You know, Leo is about fun. It's sacred play, and that we are actually rehearsing for the big event. There is a big shift coming. We are in the process of rehearsing for it, and it is reminding us to sing our prayers together to bring this into being. All right, now the actual Leo new moon. All right, I'm going to show it to you here real quick so you see what we're working with. Okay, so we have the sun and moon here at 16 degrees, 14 minutes of Leo. And like I said, we often raise it up to the next degree, especially when we're looking at the Sabian symbols. And it is it's in here in Leo in a very tight square to Uranus. And, you know, Uranus is the rebel, the maverick, unpredictable. You don't quite know what's going to happen. You know, change is afoot. Okay, and it is the rebel, it is the revolutionary, and it's opposing Saturn, and Saturn is the status quo. You know, what do we have going on? You know, there's a lot of creativity here about resisting and changing the status quo. But anyway, we're going to get more into that. We also have something called a yod, which is also known as a finger of fate in this chart. And like I said, you know, this chart actually lasts for 30 days. It's not just these few days. It's just a good time to put your prayers in motion for the next 30 days, and this energy really lasts the whole month. So anyway, Mercury is here at 23 degrees of Leo, and it makes 150, it's kind of hard to see here, it makes 150 degrees to Pluto, which then is in a sextile to Neptune, which then comes back and points once again to this finger of fate. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is Venus is at 20 degrees, 58 minutes of Virgo, and is opposite Neptune and Pisces. Excuse me. And we also have 5 planets retrograde during this month. So we'll talk about all of that. I am also going to talk just a tiny bit about the full moon, but not a lot. So to begin with this full moon, Leo, what is Leo about? That's the first thing. What is the sign Leo about? Well, number one, you know, Leo is the creator archetype. It's about creative self-expression, and we're all creators. We're creating our own lives all the time. But it's also a time of manifesting and creating and then manifesting, putting those prayers in motion and thinking outside of the box. Anyway, it's the creative principle. It's also the archetype of the divine child, so it's about joy, the celebration of life, and sacred play. Even though times are challenging, it's about having some fun, because that actually raises the vibration and the frequency by enjoying yourself. It's about life force and vitality and passion, and that's part of the creative process, is whatever lights your flame in your heart. That is actually what lights the way way for the rest of us. It helps us all awaken. And, the light is coming in and helping us see what is, see in our world. It's also about being lion-hearted. The goddess Sekhmet is associated with Leo, and she brings encourage and self-empowerment. And it's also the archetype of royalty. And Leo is, when we see Leo in the chart, we often think of royalty, privilege, but with privilege comes responsibility. So it's the king and the queen, and it's master of our destiny, okay? Being the king and the queen of our own lives. But the shadow, but it's Leo rules the backbone. That's what I want to say. And when we say someone has backbone, it means that they have the strength to stand in their own truth and integrity and not to succumb to the desires and wishes of others. And that is kind of the shadow side of Leo is, pleasing the crowd. That's, because they can also be the performer and the entertainer. But the other shadow side is authoritarianism. The king and the queen, dogmatic. It's my way or the highway, and there is no other way. And, we are seeing, king and queens and royalty and the ruling class have not always, they become corrupted by power. And, that's why most monarchies went away. But we still have, people who feel like they are in positions by their divine right. And we know that's not true. And like I said, the authoritarianism and dogmatism are a huge shadow. And we are seeing authoritarian measures rise up, being implemented all around the world. People being restricted and with really no say so. The Papers, Please is here in Europe. And there's uprisings all over in Europe to these authoritarian measures that are taking place. And many are waking up to the truth of what is happening. And just so you know, I don't know where you get your news, but it's important to know what is happening in these countries and to find sources that will show you, because these uprisings are not being reported. The censorship is part of the authoritarianism, not allowing information to get out or people to speak up. And so we have this new moon in Leo, which is in a square to Uranus and opposite Saturn, like I said. Uranus is revolutionary. It is resistance to the status quo. Well, Saturn is the status quo. I should say that. Saturn represents the status quo, and Uranus is the resistance to that status quo. And in the mix of all of this, we have this incredible, powerful new moon with these new light codes, upgrades coming in from Sirius. And, the sun, which Leo it really likes to be in, is about that face of creator that each of us wear. It's our own genius. So it is our own genius and creativity of how we, the old is breaking down, the status quo is breaking down, and being incredibly creative in how we move forward, because things are manifesting quickly, and people are seeing the light. They are seeing through the illusion into the deeper levels of truth about ourselves and our world. But, the Saturn-Uranus square is very much about, I call it, bringing light into form. They're both aspects of manifestation, one in the quantum field through our thoughts and our intentions, and the other in the world of matter. And so with this sun, this powerful new moon in Leo impacting it, it is very much, I believe, about bringing our creations into manifestation, or at least beginning to really envision them and understand how creation happens. It's understanding the principles of creation and manifestation. And to recognize there is magic all around us. Things are manifesting quickly. And I just want to give a small example of my own life, because of something that happened to me. I like to play solitaire. It's just something I enjoy. And so I have been noticing the synchronicities of how, when I think of a card, and especially when I say it out loud, that card manifests. And at first I thought it was synchronicity, and it's like, oh, I don't know about this. And then I just said, well, I'm going to just test it, and I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to do this intentionally. And when I really focused with intention, every single card, it happened. But one of the ways that it happened, it didn't always happen immediately. It may happen several cards down or in a different place, but the card I was requesting and visualizing showed up. And it made me realize that it actually made me ask the question, are we actually in 5D? Which we might be, which is that is one of the tenets of it. The higher frequency vibration is seeing your thoughts manifest and manifest quickly. So I feel like this is really in the field, and it's how to work with it. And it is, of course, being in alignment with your highest good. And it's also about trusting the process and following the flow. As I say, it's about putting a prayer in motion and letting that prayer lead the way and trusting the process, knowing your prayer has been heard. But it is also about being in alignment with your highest good, because not all of our prayers are in alignment with our highest good. Okay. And yeah, and so I also want to talk about, being lighthearted, that we are moving into a brave new world. And it's also about the freedom to be yourself, being true to yourself and your own unique gifts and perspective. It's not a time to play to the crowd, to succumb to what the crowd wants, because we are all being called to stand up and share our own unique gifts, okay, and to trust those gifts and having some clarity in our mission in life of why we came here. I feel like this is all things that can happen in this new moon, because there's some downloads coming. Uranus is about downloads. It's about these light codes coming in, but also some incredible downloads and their intuition being really strong. Now, Mercury being in a yod with Neptune and Pluto, and the finger of fate, I feel like this is another piece of saying about trusting your own inner guidance, okay, but releasing judgment and fear. Judgment is a tool, and we use it to discern what is good for us. But when it is not without compassion, it can become a tool of separation. And it's also so important to know that we do not know what is in anyone else's highest good. We only know what is in our own highest good. We don't know what their soul contracts are. We don't know what they've come here to learn to do or how to grow. And what's why, and judgment comes in when we think someone should be doing something that we are doing, but we don't have the same life, the same soul contracts. And in a time of mass hysteria and chaos like we are really having now, we can become uncentered and take in another's truth as our own. So I feel like this is really the teaching, is to align with your own truth, and once again to remember that thoughts create, and what you are creating in your personal world and contributing to the field, to be really aware of that. Okay. Venus is in Virgo, opposite Neptune and Pisces. I feel like this is, Venus in Virgo can be very self-critical. It's another piece of releasing that to the mother, to the unconditional love of the universe. And Neptune says if it feels right, it is right. To let go of all of those doubts, and to trust the process. We can direct the energy, but then trust the process and follow the flow. Okay, just like I did within the solitaire example. Okay, we have 5 planets retrograde: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus goes there mid-month, Neptune and Pluto. And when planets are retrograde, they are not aligned with consensus reality. It's about following your own path. That's another indicator. The energy of Uranus is often very much related to a retrograde planet. Retrograde planets, you've come in to learn your own teachings in a different way than consensus reality. And so we're all learning that. And also when a lot of planets are retrograde, projects can slow down a bit, okay, because you may need to put a little more thought into it. And then just one last thing, and this is about the full moon in Aquarius, which is on August 22nd at 5:03 a.m. Pacific. It is at is conjunct Jupiter at almost 27 degrees Aquarius. So this is a very visionary time. So it's like we put into motion at the new moon our prayers of whatever it is. At the full moon, we start to see it blossom. It illuminates, and Aquarius is, very much about seeing the future, and Jupiter has to do with seeing the big picture and connecting the dots. We are not in a vacuum. Kind of start putting things together. And Aquarius is the sign of the people. And it is also, this new moon, this full moon, I mean, is conjunct the moon in the chart of the United States. We have a 27-degree Aquarius new moon, a 27-degree Aquarius moon in the chart of the United States. And the moon and Aquarius are both related to the people. And I feel like it is about the power of the people. Uprisings are happening, and I feel like uprisings will really begin to happen more because there's the collapse of the old is happening. And those that have the power want to hold on. And that is not what's happening. We are moving into a new reality, and the old way of living and being is not what we're taking with us. Okay, we need to leave it behind, and it is happening, but it can be a little scary, but it's so important and Jupiter brings in trust, Jupiter brings in faith, Jupiter brings in hope, and to know that as we move through these challenging times, to hold these in our heart, that a new world is possible. A new world is already here, and we're just bringing it into manifestation. All right, well, I wish you all a wonderful month. If you like this video, please check subscribe. You can follow me on my website, SibylStar.com. Be sure and spell it right, SIBYL. Not, you get someone else. And you can reach me at my email, Sibyl@SibylStar.com. All right, thank you so much.